Hello everyone, my name is Paweł and I'm working at Flying Wild Hog as a senior character artist, doing characters of course. Also I'm working as a freelancer doing some other work, mainly characters mainly, but also some renderings for other companies, for games also for cinematics, for commercials. So I have worked in the past with many different clients and employers on many different characters for different purposes. So I get a lot of experience in, different workflows and pipelines. So I can get some conclusion from all this experience and share. I will try to share it with you a little. First, forgive me, my little helper. It's my first English prelection, so I need this. Okay, why is this word teamwork in this title? Simple answer is that the pipeline you are providing with your friends, with your teammates. So a teamwork is one of the most important things about working on the characters, because it's not supported only by the artists, but also by the riggers, by the animators, AI programmers, and so on. So the first important thing is the communication between team members. So you can look at the screen. To check the typical team members or typical departments, but for simple example, let's focus on those positions as single persons that cooperate between. Okay, the first thing is that there is no universal formula for provide characters. It all depends from the project size, the team size, the needs of the game, the size of the game, the quality of the game. So every company, every team has own pipeline, but some of I need a word. We have some common points in the pipeline for every team. After the team, when you already know each other, you already know how the other works. You know how the characters are delivered and implemented to the game. You need to look the pipeline as a whole process, and it shouldn't be linear. So if you're trying to concept all characters on the beginning of your project, all of them, then try to model them, then texture, rig, animate, do gameplay implementation. It's very hard to get good quality going through pipeline like that. So you need to focus in the same time for a few aspects of the pipeline. For example, if you're concepting, you need to rigging. Meanwhile, you need to maybe not rigging, but planning your rigs. Also, you can plan gameplay design. It's the pre-production stage, as I describe it for a while. You will have some stages or passes in your character pipeline, but every stage consists of few aspects. For first example, we take concepting and triggering planning in the same time in pre-production stage. Exactly. Why we need this approach like that? In simple words, you need to measure your production power. So you need to calculate how many concept you can make, how many rig you can use, how many model you can do. So it's an important stage. Okay, in this first linear method, you probably will stuck for a long time with some of these steps, because your team will stuck with a lot of rigs for custom characters, or animators must make animations for each character and can't reuse it because rigs are uncommon. Okay. About checking rigging possibilities and how to plan it. For example, if you these characters you see here are made are rigged with a single humanoid rig, so it can be easily animated by the motion capture. You can make this rig just once, so you can use the same animation for some behaviors for every character, and generally it's a human skeleton you can implement in many creatures that's similar to humanoid in form and scale and size. Okay. Then if you modify a little the rig, for example, like here, you oversize the arms or do additional joint on the legs. You can do the same, use the motion capture files with a little additional custom animation work. So you can make a lot of different looking character for a first look, but using almost the same rigging. And this job about concepting and rigging, you should make in the pre-production stage. So plan how many rigs you can use, how many concepts you want to make, and try to cooperate. As a 3D artist, try to cooperate with art director about visual style of these silhouettes, about rigging they will use, about the complexity. So you can plan, for example, 2 families of the model using 2 rigs, and then start prototyping it by making simple prototype meshes, very simple boxy forms you can bind to the rigs and starting implementing to the game. So we have this first concepting, rigging, gameplay design stage on the start of the project. So you're working as a whole team, not step by step, one by one. Okay. Okay. One more thing that should be done in concepting stage. It should be on the art direction and gameplay side. But the producing model from the concept is definitely touching the character artist and the rigger. So let's do little brainstorming and check that those characters we're planning to concept if they are not too tricky to implement for our game. So if we have some features that we really don't need, they are no key features for our game, core features for our game. Let's think about removing it or simplify it in different ways. For example, if you wanna make a simple rig for character, but it have a lot of pipes around the body, think to not attach those pipes in the joint areas. So it'd be easier for animation, for rigging. Try to attach those, silhouettes features in places, if it's possible, when they will not making your rigging process and animation process harder. So the characters have those features, but they are modeled a little easier for our teammates. Yes. But it's not the point to make game characters as simple as possible. The point is to make your job easier and not to generate additional unnecessary problems to solve. The other way, it is also not the point to make your game character complicated. You should make them cool. This is the goal. Find the coolness in the simple way. Okay. Okay, so the conclusion of the pre-production stage for characters is if you go directly to concepting without planning your rigging possibilities, your team can stack with a lot of characters that will need custom rigging and animation, and your production time will be much longer. Of course, concept art will be created through the project, along with modeling and other elements of the game, but you can do, as you see, initial sketches, initial modeling, as I said before, to speed up the implementation process and get other it will make that other of your teams, like programmers, can work on their job for AI or something. Okay, but the custom rigging have some common problems. A very frequent problem are the proportions of the characters. When we are looking on the concept, then the model, sometimes model not looking not much good as we want, and the question is why. As in many cases, it's not the modeler fault that he can't make good proportions. It's very typical when using common rigging. You can see this on this picture. But it's a very simple way to avoid this problem, but it needs cooperation from art direction, production especially. We have those three guys here. The warlord, first one, Hornet one, the shaman with this Asian hat, and the berserker, the stony one. And all of those characters are rigged on the same rig, yes? Little modified humanoid rig. And the process for modeling those guys was I needed to model the first one, then the second one, and fit it on the first one rig. Okay, the second one, the shaman, I have tried to put on the first one rig and follow the concept. So you can see long arms, double joints in the legs, on the legs. Many people saying that the shaman looks cool, but I never like his arms because I don't know, not interesting to me. Okay, but it's to me. I have fitted character into rig pretty well. I have followed the concept. So what goes wrong? I should change the concept a little for this pure post. Change the form to make model looking more interesting and cool as possible. So that I have made with the last character, the berserker, but the truth is the berserker was made without a concept. So I was freehand to model it like I want. I just wanted to make it, stony, to be hard enemy, but I can fit the form of the model exactly for the rig to just a little repose it for this monkey pose. So if you're a modeler and you're trying to follow concept closely, which is awesome, of course, you should do that. There is no way to make it looking good with that skeleton proportions. You can change the concept to look interesting. Okay. If you're an art director, let the artist go with his way to get the model visual quality. If you're client producer, you need to understand that the 2D concept in some cases it's not the final iteration of the model look development. So you need to understand that it's a iteration process in many cases. Sometimes it's hard to predict even by experienced concept painters, even by modelers with many years of experience to say that 2D drawing will be not looking good as a 3D model. Okay, so feel free if you want to add a little your own stuff. As before, it is not a good approach to change concept with any reason, without a reason. Okay, it's a lot of work in concept art already done. So, as artist, as 3D artist, you should respect work of your 2D concepting mates. You need to respect that someone's pay for the concept and do some resources for making those concepts. So you need to ask it is reasonable or not. Okay. If you are directing, you will supposed to check why 3D artists wanna change concept by his own way, how he want to change those model against the concept. So you need understanding each other work here. Here's the teamwork you need to provide. If it's working badly, there's this is not a good way. Fitting characters, forcing fitting characters to rigs and doing stuff like that using force. Okay, so we can start modeling now. If we have silhouettes, concept art, we want to start modeling, but before we go to modeling stage, it's good to learn something from the rigger. Okay, to learn something from the rigger or animator. So ask your rigger before or meanwhile modeling game mesh if he or she maybe see any special features in mesh you're working on. Maybe some chunks should be separated from main mesh that can speed up rigging process or can do some cool animation stuff. Maybe you need to do some extra loops somewhere. Maybe some additional model chunks for FX or something like that. So it's good to walk to the rigging department and talk about what we will together working on. And it's the same problem as in the concepting stage. The sooner you will hunt these problems, the less of them you will deal with after process or through the meanwhile process. Okay, so the rigger can help you with modeling, but you can help also to the rigger in some cases. I paint yesterday those vegetables. I'm not a painter, but I'm not allowed to show original ones, so there are vegetables. The original ones was fruits. So okay, as you can see, each character is a little different in shape, but they have some common features like legs, generally limbs, eyes, eyebrows. So the best way to model all of them is reusing, of course. Pretty simple stuff to make. You need to model hands, legs, and eyes just for one of them. Make texture coordinates just once, for example, on the quarter of the texture, leaving the rest of the texture for the rest of the body. And you can just copy-paste the limbs to the another character and correct the color, add some detail, additional detail on the texture. And if you model them, fit them in the same size and place the limbs in the same places. So if rigger push the bone in one character, will be fitted automatically to the other characters. You can scale it a little on the feet and do stuff like that. But all of this will boost your work speed. Okay. Next thing with those guys, with those vegetable guys, is the limbs and body connection. Maybe on the concept is looking like the limbs are extruded from the bodies, like my arm here, it's attached permanently. But the better way is not to connect them to the body. In this case, of course, like Rayman character, that everybody known well. You will avoid body deformation. In animation, you can animate limbs in very free way, like in Rayman. Okay, but in Shadow Warrior, we can't use that kind of reusing because our characters are too much complicated in form, so they are realistic. So copy-paste limbs are just stupid. Okay, this is the good word. But some of us making mobile games, so we're doing a lot of cartoony characters. So this is good way to speed up work, to make work cheaper, and you can focus on detail, not the amount of those characters. Okay, but in the Shadow Warrior, I have used different kind of reusing in high poly sculpting. Meanwhile, modeling characters for Shadow Warrior, I learned that before I start modeling, I should do little research about the tools I will be using to model my characters. Making own brushes, carved brushes in ZBrush, alphas for detailing, brushes for ropes, like you can see here. Knots and so on let you speed up your process with modeling current characters, also another ones. Okay, in the future, I highly recommend this approach to do some research before start your work. You will take profit in the future from this. Okay, and I highly recommend to make your own library of tools. Especially in ZBrush, and share it with your workmates that can also use your tools for another same game characters. That's probably the same style, the same setting. So Japan knots, Japan armors, some balls, metal balls and bells or something. You can share it with your friends. That also speed up your work. Okay, so sharing. We're at sharing. Use the cloud drives. Definitely, I wish to move to the cloud drive with all of my stuff, but it's a little early for me. The capacities are too small, but it's already a good moment to move to cloud drives with your tools libraries, and your references, anatomical references, detail references. If you push it all to the I don't know any cloud drive, you will get profit from this very fast. For example, if I made some ZBrush tool, yes, at the Flying Wild Hog studio, my computer in the studio, I can back to my home and evenings and after back to my home and evening sculpting my own stuff, I remember that I can use it, but I have it at my job in the computer in the job. Okay, so the pen drive stuff and so on every time. Just save it to the cloud and forget it. You can. It's instantly updating on your other machines. One more extra thing about ZBrush. If you're using ZBrush Lightbox, you can just drop a shortcut to cloud drive folder to the brushes folder in ZBrush. So you have easy access to it. You no need to copy. The shortcut is working. And when I'm saving brush in ZBrush, thanks to cloud drive, I have it on my computer in my job, in my home. My wife gets those tools, and my mates that I'm sharing getting those tools instantly. That it's a very easy way to help and speed up works of everyone in team. Very simple, very effective, very useful. Okay, you can do the same thing with configuration files or useful, for example, Mac scripts. Yes. So go cloud. If you have a big team, you can establish that kind of library in your studio. For example, on the LAN network, that also will be very, very helpful. Okay. Okay. So modeling. Let's say you have finished your modeling process, more or less. I will not focus on the modeling and mapping this time. There is so much information about how to model characters, so I leave it here. But now is the very crucial point of the character pipeline for the artist. This is the moment after modeling high poly and low poly mesh. This is the moment when you're releasing final model with your UV coordinates, with baked initial textures like ambient occlusion and normal map, and give it to the rigger. So if you're making model for the games, you need to check if it is modeled good as possible. It have UV maps made properly. Check it twice. Reset transformation matrices, flip faces, checked. There's no floating vertices around the mesh that can do some, overdraw on the screen. Check maybe some of high poly mesh, very little is somewhere in the model and also causing overdraw on the engine, in the engine. Check the scale and the naming for the rigging. Okay. If you check all of these things, you will get no negative feedback at all from the rigging guy or technical director, and you will not get additional overhead and unnecessary files juggling, and can peacefully go to texturing work. And with the texturing process is the same thing as with modeling. There's many methods for making textures, so you need many different kinds of textures. We will need hours to take this topic, so I leave it to another prelection or some tutorial maybe. But about textures, I want to say also few important things. The first one is PBR, physically based modeling, the standard that is growing very fast, and also almost all of the new popular engines using PBR. So if you're not using PBR standard, you need to go PBR ASAP. Okay. So choose your software for PBR. I have tried Substance Painter, 3D Code for PBR texturing, and I chose 3D Code in 4.5 version in beta stage now. It's definitely winning software for me not only in PBR but also in retopology stuff. And nobody paying me for saying that. I highly recommend 3D Code. Very smart guys that made those little, not just little software. But the choice is yours, of course. You can take every of this software and try. The second thing that you should never do with textures before pushing it to final release. You should never ever use any other viewer than a native game engine if you want to release final textures. Things like Max Viewport, like Marmoset, Toolbag, maybe there are Marmoset a cool tool also, but it's good for texturing, of course. But you need to check how your model looks in the engine, because there are always some differences with shading models and lighting models between viewers, between engines. So you need to be sure that model is looking properly in environment that will be placed, that will be implemented. So this is important, seriously. Okay. One more thing, the last thing, doing your textures, make it twice in size. So if you need to engine 2K, make it 4K. It's a little bigger, but you can use it for promo renderings, for cinematics, for cutscenes, and for your portfolio. So it's a little more convenient way to texture also. And never collapse layers if you have in PSD files or something. Okay, and we're going to the timeline that we all like very much. So the modeling and texturing loneliness of character artists will be break by the producer sometimes, or the art director looking by the shoulder and asking when we finish our model. So it's a good question. When we finish our model, we need to know when we finish our model. So important thing, if you're working in the team, it's you need to know when you finish in your job. So your teammates can take it and push it forward. Okay. In my case, the good timing for characters, for example, for Shadow Warrior is 3-4 weeks for standard character, 4-5 weeks for more complicated character. Of course, it's highly dependent by the complexity of character and the quality you want to achieve. But the process of creation can be endless. So calculate your time. Calculate how much time you need to research for tools, for references. How much time takes high poly modeling, how much time takes low poly version, baking and texturing. Include your skill, include your wanted quality and model detail complexity, because people will be asking about this, especially on the outsource. Yes, if you're working with outsourcers. This is about timeline. And then another guy that will asking you what you're doing all the time will be probably art director. And this is another long story with the stylization, but this guy, as you as a modeler, is a part of the team, so it's his job to, breaking your cool day and asking what you're doing. But you're working together. You're working together on the same stuff. So just the tasks are a little different. You making modeling, and the art director, watching if every model, every part, art part of the game is made properly with how we want it. Okay, we have Okay, a few minutes. So, what's the bad stuff? The bad stuff. Sometimes, especially when you delivering content as a freelancer, or when you jak powiedzieć zamawiać? Thanks. When you ordering art as a client producer, you need to beware about communication noise. So never push the same stuff through the two persons. It's causing double hierarchy, and the artist won't know in this case who's right. Okay, so give the artist just one boss in that case. The same stuff is in the studio. So even if someone hiring hierarchy like client or producer is under art director, you should check what you're doing with art director, because it's causing this communication noise, this misunderstandings, and it's a very bad effects at your quality, at your speed. The same stuff is with when you put as an outsource coordinator incompetent person. That's I don't know. It's a newbie in the industry. It's just a good position to sending emails, but that person should know a lot about stuff that this person working on. Yes, so I had a question some time ago about renderings. I asking how big renders I need to deliver. I ask, it's a full HD will be okay, and the coordinator said yes, full HD is okay. We will print it on the I don't know, big posters. So that's it's the same way that I'm asked for example, for the textures, how big the textures should be. Is the 1000 will be okay? Yes, we will print it. Yes, okay. So it's weird. So be sure that in your team is no communication noise. Check the. You need to check what people you're pushing on this communication in the communication. Okay, so don't forget about your team. You're not working alone, and your mates have same problem as you sometimes. So learn about professions a little, not the whole profession, a little about profession of the other team members. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's okay. That's we have 15 minutes more, so you can ask me something, and I will try to respond for your questions if you want. This is the good moment. Anyone?
I have a question.
Okay.
In terms of stuff you were talking about, right? I think you. In terms of stuff you were talking about, making, animation, modeling, and so on, which one was harder to make? The little screamer-like robots from Hard Reset, or humans from Shadow Warrior?
About whole pipeline, you mean? Little screamer robots or humanoids? You asking? I'm a modeler, so I think humanoid is always a little harder to to replicate it in game, because we all looking around and we see humanoids everywhere. So the real living creature or similar, something similar to a living creature in motion will be always harder to realize. Okay, but the modeling is the same. If you know how to model, how to but you know, robot is a robot. Robot is just a metal case. Human and creature is, you know, you need to push it a little life. So maybe a little harder. Okay. Okay. Thank you. You're awesome.